Okay, question 1 says, a ball is dropped from a height of 2.5 metres above the ground. Each time it hits the ground, it bounces to 3/5 of its previous height. Kevin says that after it hits the ground for the third time, it will not bounce above half a metre. Is Kevin correct? So basically we've got to work out the height at the end after the first bounce. There's a first bounce, second bounce, and third bounce. We want to find what this height is, so we've got a wee bit of work to do. Okay, the first drop is 2.5 metres. And then to get this next, it rebounds to 3/5. So to get this next height, how we're going to get this, it's going to be 2.5 times 3/5. 3/5, remember, is a decimal, is 0.6. You can use 3/5 in your calculator if you want. And if I did that, I got 1.5 metres. So that's now 1.5 metres. To get this next height over here, you're going to have to do 1.5 times 0.6. And 1.5 times 0.6 gives you 0.9. So it's 0.9 metres for this bit. And to get our last height, the one that we need, you do 0.9 times 0.6, and 0.9 times 0.6 is 0.54 metres. So he thought it wouldn't rebound to, Kevin says that after it hits the ground for the third time, it will not bounce above half a metre, and it does. So we can say he is incorrect. So is he correct? No, he's not. Okay, next question, question 2. Question 2 says the points P, which is 4, 8, and Q, which is x, y, are joined to form a straight line. The midpoint of the line PQ has a coordinate of 1, 7. So we need to understand what the midpoint is. So the midpoint is your x1 plus your x2 divided by 2, your y1 plus your y2 and divided by 2. That's how you get your midpoint. So I'm going to change that a wee bit, get rid of that. So in this case, we know our midpoint is 1, 7. And 1, 7 was the result of doing 4 plus x and then dividing by 2, and also doing 8 plus y and dividing by 2. So that means you've got two equations here. For 1 is equal to this thing, and then the 7 is equal to this thing here. So you can say 1 equals 4 plus x over 2. So that's a two-step equation. And we will bring the 2 across. 2 then is equal to 4 plus x. And a wee bit of working out then means your x is equal to minus 2. So x equals minus 2. If we look at the 7 was equal to 8 plus y over 2, which means 14 is equal to 8 plus y. And again, a wee bit of working out gives you y is equal to 6. So there you have your point, minus 2, 6. Next question says, write down any two numbers whose highest common factor is 8. Well, let's just go for the straightforward one. 8 and 16 would have a highest common factor of 8. There we go. And there's an infinite number of answers you could have there. You could have 8. You could have, as long as you have 8 as one of your numbers, and then any multiple of 8, then the highest common factor would be 8. Okay, next one. Given that 600 is equal to 2 to the power of a times 3 times 5 to the power of b, find the values of a and b. This is just using your ladder method would be the nicest way of doing this. So if we do our ladder method, we've got 600. We'll divide by 2 first of all to give you 300. Divide by 2 again to give you 150. Divide by 2 again to give you 75. Now divide by 3 to give you 25. Divide by 5 to give you 5. Divide by 5 to give you 1. So we've found out that 600 is 2 times 2 times 2, so that's 2 cubed, times 3 times 5 times 5, which is 5 squared. So that's your a then is equal to 3, and your b is equal to 2, and obviously you'd write that in your answer line as well. Okay, it says in this one, Mary and Anne both go to a shop, each with the same amount of money. Mary buys 7 bars of chocolate at y pence each and receives 19 pence change. Anne buys 5 bars of chocolate at y pence each and receives 65 pence change. By forming and solving an equation, work out how much money each girl had going to the shop. Okay, so Mary buys 7 bars costing y pence and she gets 19 pence change. And that's the same amount of money as Anne buying 5 bars at y pence each and receiving 65 pence change. So it's just a linear equation. Bring all the y's to one side. Everything else goes to the other side. So you'll have 7y minus 5y is equal to 65 minus 19. Tidy up, that's 2y is equal to, and that's going to be 46, which means y is equal to 23. So have we answered the question? It said, by forming and solving equation, work out how much money each girl had going to the shop. So I'm going to put that back into this one. I think it's slightly easier. So we'll just say, when y is equal to 23, then your 5y plus 65 would be equal to 5 times 23 plus 65. 5 times 23 is 115 plus 65, and that's going to work out to be 180 pence, and that's going to be £1.80. So the equation then tells you to write down the equation. The equation I put in is the original one we put in. 7y plus 19 is equal to 5y plus 65, and each girl had £1.80. Next question says, a cuboid pardon me, cuboid has a length of 90 centimeters, width of 45, and a height of 30. Its mass is 24300, and this is grams. And just look at the units before you start these questions. Look at the units. Our units, this is a wee bit unusual. Your units are in centimeters cubed, grams per centimeters cubed. So the mass needs to be in grams, which we've got, and all the lengths need to be in centimeters, which we've got. So more often than not, they do it in kilograms per meter cubed, in which case you would need to convert your centimeters into meters and your grams into kilograms, but they've actually made it very nice for us here. So we just have to work with these numbers, but expect big numbers at the start. So to get the volume, first of all, where we're trying to get to, density is mass divided by volume. So our volume, first of all, is 90 times 45 times 30, and if you work it out, you get 1,21500. And your density is equal to your mass divided by your volume. So the mass is 24300 divided by volume 1,21500. And when I worked that out, I got 0.2. So 0.2 grams per centimeter cubed. Okay, question 6 says, Leah walks 4.7 meters in a straight line. She then turns 90 degrees clockwise and walks 2.5 in another straight line. How far is Leah from where she started? So she's gone this direction and in this direction, and this is what we want to find. So it's just a lovely little Pythagoras question. So we'll just say x squared is equal to 4.7 squared plus 2.5 squared, which means x is equal to the square root of 4.7 squared plus 2.7 squared, and then x is equal to 5.32. I haven't done this, I'd already worked this out. I'm guessing this was an exact answer, 5.32 meters in. There we go. If it wasn't, then I had rounded out the 2 decimal places, but I think that was a nice one. Okay, right, question 7. I think this threw people a wee bit. This was the front door of Martin's house is wooden. The top part of the door is a semicircle. It has a window in the shape of a rhombus as shown in the diagram. What is the area of the wooden part of the door? So we've got to find this area here. I'll shade in the area that we need to find. We've got to find this whole bit. If you imagine that's a rectangle. Oh, sorry, up to here would be a rectangle. And then this bit at the top would be the semicircle. And then what you could do is take off this wee rhombus in the middle. So we've got 3 bits to work out basically for this question. So here, I'm going to just say what the things are. So we're going to say the rectangle. Don't have to write out the whole word, abbreviate a wee bit. So the rectangle, area of the rectangle is going to be 2 times 0.8, which is going to be 1.6 meters squared. The semicircle. So semicircle, let's just zoom in on this. There's our wee semicircle. We don't know the height of the semicircle. You don't need to know the height, but you know the diameter of the semicircle is 0.8. So the radius is 0.4. So an area of a circle is pi r squared. So that's going to be my r is going to be 0.4 squared, and it's not a whole circle, it's a semicircle, so it's a half times that. And when I do that, if you to do this, the nicest way to do this, forget about the pi in your calculator, just do half times 0.4 squared, and that gives you 0.08, and then put a pi on it, because that's now an exact answer. Okay, so do a half times 0.4 squared, and then that's give you 0.08, and then put pi back onto it. So that's perfect so far. So I've got the area of my rectangle, the area of my semicircle, the area of the kite, or the rhombus it is actually, but I'm going to call it a kite. Same thing. So here, if to find the area of a kite or a rhombus, to find the area of a rhombus, you can do two things for a rhombus. You can find base times height, because it's a parallelogram, or because a rhombus is a kite, it's a half times a product of the diagonals. So we've got a diagonal here, and we've got the other diagonal going this way, and they've already labelled them as 0.3 and 0.2. So you've got it's a half times your 0.2 times your 0.3, and if you work that out, you will get 0.03. So the wooden part then is the rectangle, 1.6 plus your 0.8, and that was multiplying our pi, remember, and then you're taking away the 0.03, and then when I did that out, I got 1.82 meters squared, and that was to 2 decimal places. So again, just go through that. Again, I found the area of the rectangle, area of the semicircle, and then you take off the area of the rhombus, which I've treated as a kite. Okay, next one. I have to say this one confused me a wee bit, I don't know why. It said 1/3 of the pupils in a school are girls, 15% of the girls are in the senior school, and then it says there are 306 girls in the junior school, and then how many pupils are in the school. So 15% are in the senior school. That means the other amount must be in the junior school. So that means 85% of the girls, I'll zoom in so we can see this, 85% of the girls equals 306. Easiest way to find the 100% of the girls in is break down to 1%. So I've done that just by dividing by 85, and that gave me 3.6. That means 100% of the girls, or all the girls, is going to be 360. Okay, next thing it says, 1/3 of the pupils are girls. So 360 is 1/3 of the total, and that means the total, if you know what 1/3 is, the total is going to be 3 times that, so 3 times 360, which is going to be 1080 in total. So that's your answer, 1080. The next question says, given that n minus 2 squared plus n minus a is equal to n squared minus 2, is identical to, find the value of a. So what you've got to do is we're going to work out our left-hand side. So I'm just going to say LHS, the left-hand side, is equal to n minus 1 times n minus 1, just makes it a wee bit easier for me to multiply out, plus n minus a. So let's multiply out this bracket now. That'll give you n squared minus, so n squared minus n minus another n, so that's minus 2n, and then minus 1 times minus 1 is plus 1, plus n minus a. That's a mess, so tidy up. That's going to be n squared minus 2n plus n, an's disappear, and then you're left with plus 1 minus a. Okay, what we have got now, we've got an identity, which is what an awful lot of people don't like. We now know we can see what our left-hand side tidies up to be, n squared plus 1 minus a. So n squared on the left-hand side equals n squared on the right-hand side. And then here, our number bit on the right-hand side is minus 2. So that's a bit that has no n's in it. And the bit that has no n's on it on the left-hand side is this, 1 minus a. So what you've really got is 1 minus a is equal to minus 2, which means I'll swap the minus 2 and the a around. So 1 plus 2 is equal to a, which means your a is just equal to 3. Okay, next one. Right, my favourite type of question, straight lines. Okay, it says here, a line L passes through points with coordinates 0, 2, and 2, 8. Find the equation of a line, any line parallel to L. So first thing you've got to do is find the gradient. So the gradient is, how we get the gradient? M is equal to your y difference over your x difference. So the y difference, I'm going to do 8 minus 2. So, and then for my x difference, I started with 8. So for my x difference, I'm going to do 2 minus 0. So 2 minus 0. And that's going to be 6 over 2. So my gradient is 3. So our line has to have the same gradient because it's parallel. So it's going to be 3x plus c. Now, if it's a parallel line means it's a different line. It is parallel to, but it is different. So it's not exactly the same. And if you look at our original line, it goes through 0, 2. So its intercept would be 2. So we have to pick any number different. So I've just said y is equal to 3x plus, and I just randomly picked 17. But just to show you here, this number here could have been anything. This number here could have been anything other than 2, basically, would have given you your answer. Okay, next one says, when the square of a number n is added to double the number n, the total is 24. By forming and solving an equation, find the value of n where n is a negative. So you've got when the square of a number n is added to double the number, so that's 2n, the total is 24. So that's an equation. Bring it over to one side, and then we will factorize this. So using your sum and product method, my sum is 2, my product is minus 24. So we'll just go through minus 24 and all the ways we can get it. Minus 1 times 24, minus 2 times 12, minus 3 times 8, minus 4 times 6, and there we have it. So it's n squared, sorry, we found our, we don't have to do some product method just I guess for this one as easy as this. So it's just going to be n minus 4 upon n plus 6 is equal to 0. And then that means n minus 4 equals 0, which means n is equal to 4. Or it means n plus 6 is equal to 0, which means n is equal to minus 6. So form the equation. The equation we had was n squared plus 2n is equal to 24, and the answer, because it had to be negative, n is equal to minus 6. Okay, next question is a frequency table shows the distance travelled to school by 80 teachers. So you've come to complete the cumulative frequency column and table. So how you get these, and they've been very helpful here. They've given us a couple to start us off, just to show how this works. So here we can see the first one, well, first cumulative frequency was 25. The next one is 33. So basically you've just added the first two to give you 33. So you'll add on the 15 to give you the next one, which is going to be 48. Then add on the 12 to give you 60. Add on the 10 to give you 70. Add on the 5 to give you 75. Add on the 3 to give you 78. And add on the 2 to give you 80. So your cumulative frequency basically is a running total of all the frequencies. So there you have it, filled in. There's your cumulative frequency. What you need to do next is to draw the next part of the question. What it asks you to do is to draw this table. So I'm going to do a wee bit of back and forward here, and then I'll pause the video and finish this off. So the first one, if you look back here, the first one here said for a distance from from 0 is less than d is less than or equal to 5. The cumulative frequency is 25. So basically all 25 people here have gone a distance of less than 5. So for your first thing, you go to your 5, here's your 5, and you go up to 25, and that's the first point that you mark on. Okay, so that's how you arrive at that. I'll do the next one, and then I'll leave you to do the rest of it. So here, for the next one, get rid of that, sorry. For the next one then, we had 33, and those 33 people all had a score of less than, or travel the distance of less than 10. So you go to 10 on your horizontal axis, and then 33 on your vertical. So we'll go to 10 on the horizontal and 33. So there's 10, up to 10, and then 33 would take you to here. So you go through, I'll pause the video, and then we'll do the rest. You can do the rest of those, and we'll see what they look like. Okay, so there's the rest of my points done. So just to show you where these points were, the first one was, I was 5 horizontally, and then 25. This was 10, and then 33. And then it was 15 and 48. Next one then is 20 and 60, 25 and 70, 30 and 75, 35 and 78, and the last one was 40 and 80. Okay, the next thing we need to do is draw our cumulative frequency curve. So not easy for me to do on this thing, but as you're doing this, just to give you a wee good tip for doing this, to try and make a smooth curve, as you're drawing, putting your pen here, and you're drawing from here to here, so as you're on your way from here to here, you cast your eye on to the next point and keep doing that as you go, and that sort of helps smooth out your curve. Now I'm going to try and do this as best I can. So again, I'll pause the video and then do this as best I can, and then I'll be back to you. Okay, so I've got mine done. Not great, to be honest, but there we go. Okay, what it says in the next part of the question over the page, it asks you to find the median distance. Now, if you remember what we've got, we have got 80 values was our total. So half of 80 is 40. So all you do is go across at 40 using your ruler, which I haven't got. So you're using your ruler and you're going across here. And I would put a nice dashed line using my ruler. And this is where it met. And then where it meets, just go straight down. And mark on the arrows. And then that would have been this value. And that value would have been 12.5. So you fill that in for here. The median is 12.5. Next part of the question says, the number of teachers, find a number of teachers who travel more than 27 miles. So this is a less than cumulative frequency graph, but you've got to go find 27. So that would be 26, 27 would be here. And you're going up from the 27. So you're going up from here. Again, using your ruler, which I don't have. And I think my graph here is a little bit off, so I'm going to go with what I had done in my, what I had got in when I did this out, using my ruler, not on the screen. When I came across here, I got 72. So that's 72 people have gone less than that distance. That means this wee distance here would be how many have gone more. So I would just say this then. I just say there was 80 in total. 80 minus the 72 just gives you 8. So there's 8 people who've gone that distance. Okay, the next question says, an airplane is flying at a height of 9,000 meters. The angle of depression from the airplane to the ship is 32 degrees. Find the distance from the airplane to the ship. So there's your airplane. It's going at a height of 9,000 meters. And my angle of depression is 32 degrees, which means by alternate angles, that also has to be 32 degrees as well. Now what we need to find is find the distance from the airplane. There's your airplane to the ship. So x is what we need to find, this wee horizontal. So I've got relative to my angle, that's my opposite side. The x is a hypotenuse. So remember, by your, so I'll just do that out, sorry, I'll write that out, apologies. Your SOHCAHTOA sine, remember, sine of the angle theta is equal to the opposite over hypotenuse. So in this case, sine of our angle is 32 is equal to our opposite, which is 9,000 divided by x, which then we can rearrange to say then x is equal to 9,000 divided by sine of 32, and that works out to be 16983.72, and that's going to be meters, and that was the 2 decimal places. Okay, an equation used in physics is work done is equal to force times your distance. The work done in moving a car is 12,500 joules corrected to 3 sig figs. The car moves a distance of 215 meters correct the nearest meter. Calculate the maximum minimum forces applied. So we know, first of all, work done is equal to force times the distance, which means force is equal to work done divided by distance. So we'll do the minimum one first. Our force, the minimum force, to make a fraction as small as possible, you make the top line as small as possible, so the work done, the minimum value of it, divided by, make the bottom line as big as possible. So we'll just work that out. So what was our work done it was this. So to make that that was correct to 3 sig figs. So to make that as small as possible, be 12450. And to make this as big as possible, because it was the nearest meter, so it's going to be 215.5. And then you just work that out. It's going to be 57.77 to 2 dp's. So 57.77. And then for the maximum one, the maximum version, you're going to make the top line as big as possible and the bottom line as small as possible. So it's the reverse. So it's going to be 12550 divided by 214.5. And then when we work that out, it's going to be 58.51. And that is it. I've written those the wrong way around. They should have been the wrong way, the other way around. The top one obviously is the minimum one, and the bottom one is the maximum one. Okay, next one. We've Venn diagrams question. It looks awful. It's actually not too bad. It says a Venn diagram shows information about 32 pupils in a class. By setting up and solving a quadratic equation, calculate how many pupils in a class play soccer only. Okay, right. We now know there are 32 pupils in total. So 32 is going to be equal to this number, or this expression, plus this, plus this, plus this. So all of those things added up. So it's just really a multiplying out and collecting terms and multiplying out type question. That's really all we're doing. So let's just multiply it out. You're going to have 3x squared minus 9x plus 5 plus x plus 1 plus x plus 6. And then we'll tidy up. We'll bring it all to one side. You're going to have 3x squared. And then that's going to be minus 7x. And then you've got 5 plus 1 is 6 plus another 6 is 12. And then take away the 32 is going to be minus 20. So that's what you've got. And then it's a sum and product question. So we'll zoom in on this just. Sum and product with this thing. Sum is equal to minus 7. My product is equal to minus 60. And my two numbers which multiply to give minus 60 and add to give minus 7 are minus 12 and 5. So we'll rewrite this as 3x squared minus 12x plus 5x minus 20. Factorize the first two terms completely. You'll have 3x times x minus 4. Factorize the second two terms completely. You'll have 5 upon x minus 4, which means 0 is equal to x minus 4 upon 3x plus 5. And then put those equal to 0. You'll have x equals 4, or x is equal to minus 5 over 3. Now, it says, by what are we talking about in this question? It's a number of pupils. You're not going to have, if you zoom in to one of these, we'll look at this one again. if you had x plus 1, you couldn't have the negative 5 over 3, as it would make x plus 1 a negative value. So only one of them works. So we'll take that one. And it says, now read the question. It says, by Histograms solving a quadratic equation, done, calculate how many pupils in the class play soccer only. So soccer only was this thing over here, was this bit. So we want to work this out. So we'll just say when word makes all the difference. When x is equal to 4, your 3x upon x minus 3 just becomes 3 times 4 minus 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 minus 3 is 1. 12 times 1 is just 12, and your answer is 12 pupils. Okay, next one. Oh, skip one. It says factorize fully. Looks easy. People will make a mistake in this one. So you've got to factorize this fully. First thing you can do here is you can pull a 7 outside a bracket. So 7 come out, leaving you 9x squared minus 4. And then this is the difference of two squares. 9x squared, square root of it is 3x. So 3x goes in each bracket. Square root of 4 is 2. So we put a 2 in these, and one of them's plus and one of them's minus, and that's it. Next one, expand and simplify. 4x times 2y will be 8xy. 4x times the minus 7 is minus 28x squared. Minus y times 2y will be minus 2y squared. Minus y times that will be plus 7xy. Have a look and see if there's anything you can tidy up. You have an 8xy term and a 7xy term. That could be grouped together. 15xy minus 28x squared minus 2y squared. And that's us. Next question says, the straight line L1 has equation 2x minus 5y plus 6 is equal to 0. The straight line L2 is perpendicular to L1, passes through the point 3, 1. Find equation for L2. First thing I'm going to do is write this in y equals mx plus c form. So your L1 was 2x minus 5y plus 6 is equal to 0. I'm going to rearrange that, so I'll leave the 2x and the 6 here, bring the 5 across, the 5y across, then I'll divide through by 5. So I'll have just y is equal to 2 over 5x plus 6 over 5. So y is equal to 2 over 5x plus 6 over 5. Now the reason I've done that is so that I can find what the gradient of this line is. And the gradient, now easy to read, the gradient is 2 over 5. So that means if L2 is perpendicular, L2 has then gradient negative reciprocal of 2 over 5. So that means flip it upside down, change the sign. So it's going to be minus 5 over 2, which is the same as minus 2.5. Okay, so what we know so far, your L2 is y is equal to minus 2.5x plus c. So to find the c, all you're going to do is sub in this point. So sub in 3, 1. So when x is equal to 3, your y is equal to 1. So 1, instead of writing y, you write 1. Instead of writing x, you write 3. So that means 1 is equal to minus 7.5 plus c. That means 1 plus 7.5 is equal to c. So 8.5 is equal to c. And your answer, your L2 is minus 2.5x plus 8.5. Okay, the next question is a circle theorems question. You've got this diagram, and it says find the size of SPQ, explaining clearly each step of your solutions. Now what I do this maybe a strange way. I fill in all that I can on the diagram, and then I write it up at the end. So we're just going to get cracking with this. So the first thing I'm going to see is the alternate segment theorem. So this 52, because we've got a 52 here, because this angle is 52, the angle in the alternate segment theorem will also be 52. So this angle in here also needs to be 52 degrees. Next thing I notice we've got a set of parallel lines. So you've got your parallel lines and you've got your line crossing them. So that means this angle in here also needs to be 52. Okay, next thing I spot is that this side and this side are the same, so you have an isosceles triangle, which means this also is going to be 52. And then because you've got one angle and the second angle in a triangle, you can find the missing angle. So this angle, I can calculate it. Calculate it by doing 180 minus 52, which is going to give me 76 degrees. And then the angle that I needed to find, SPQ, I can now find because it is here, and it's a cyclic quadrilateral angle with this one. So it's going to be 180 minus the 76, so it is going to be 104 degrees. Now I'm sure there's other ways of doing that, but that's one way, and that works. So now I've got to write it up. So how did I actually do that? So the first thing I said was my angle PQS was equal to 52 degrees, and that was by the alternate segment theorem. So if you know what these things are called, it really helps you doing this. And then your QSR it was, wasn't it? Yep. QSR we found next, so QSR, it was also equal to 52, and that was by, and that's just regular alternate angles. So it's not the alternate segment theorem, but by alternate angles. And then the next thing we said was SQR was also equal to 52 2 degrees. Just say as it's an isosceles triangle. And then the next thing was we found the other angle in triangle, which was QRS, and it was equal to 72 degrees, and that was by just angles in a triangle. And then the last thing was QPS. That's not the way they asked it. They asked it for the other way around. Use the letters that they've given. So they asked it for SPQ. And SPQ then was equal to 104 degrees, and that was by cyclic quadrilateral. So cyclic quad would do right now. So your answer, fill it in, is 104 degrees. And there it is, perfectly explained, and that's it. Next question 20 says solve the equation, giving your answer correct at 2 decimal places. So here what we've got to do is find a common denominator first of all. So your common denominator is going to be 3x plus 1 upon 7 minus 2x. Your top line will become 4 upon 7 minus 2x, then minus 5 upon 3x plus 1 is equal to 3 over 4. And then I think probably in one, I guess what I would do is cross multiply. So what I mean by that is this bottom line here multiplies up to this 3, and this 4 multiplies up to here. I'll maybe just multiply up by the bottom line first, actually, because of the 4 will make things awkward. So I'll bring that, I've got my 3 over 4 here, and that's times 3x plus 1 times the 7 minus 2x. And then what I will do is I'll multiply this top line. So on this top line, you had 4 times the 7, which is 28, and then 4 times the minus 2x, which is minus 8x. And then be very careful with this. Minus 5 times 3x is minus 15x. And what people often get wrong is minus 5 times plus 1 is minus 5. So we can then tidy up we'll tidy up our left-hand side first of all. What's that going to be? We're going to have 23 minus 23x, and then is equal to still 3 over 4. And then we'll multiply this out. You'll have 21x minus 6x squared plus 7 minus 2x. And then we'll multiply across by this 4 now. It can come across. So we're going to have 4 times 23 minus 23x. And the right hand side then, we've still got 3 times, and then that's going to be minus 6x squared plus 19x and plus 7. Then we can just multiply it and tidy up. You're now going to have 92 minus 92x is equal to, and it's going to be minus 18x squared plus 57x, and then plus 21. Bring everything to the right hand side and put it equal, left hand side, sorry, and put it equal to 0. You'll have 18x squared minus 149x plus 71 is equal to 0. And then I would imagine this doesn't factorize, and a big clue is it says in the question to give your answers correct at 2 decimal places. So we'll use our quadratic equation. Xn is equal to 149 plus or minus the square root of minus 149, that's squared, minus 4 times my a, which is 18, times my c, which is 71, all divided by 2a, so that's 2 lots of 18. And then x works out to be, I just like to tally up the square root inside that square root, so it's square root of 17089 all over 36, which means x is equal to 0.51 to 2 decimal places, or x is equal to 7.77 to 2 decimal places. Okay, next one is a stratified sample question. A wee bit different the way I've asked this one's quite nice. It says there are 3,200 passengers on a cruise ship. A stratified sample is taken to get feedback on the entertainment on board. A table shows some information about the people on board the ship. So you've got the men, total number of men, total number of women, and total number of children. You've only got the number sampled of the men. So you've got to work out then the missing number of sampled women, missing number of sampled children. So stratified sampling is all about the fraction of people sampled is equivalent to the size of them. So the amount of people sampled, is equivalent to the amount of people, how they are represented in the group, I should say. So the fraction of them. So we'll say the fraction sampled is equal to, for the men, 27 over 1152. And then we'll say the woman sampled is equal to 27 over 1152 times the total population, times the number of women, total population of women, which is that. And then when I work that out, I got 33. So there's 33 women sampled. For the children sampled, again, it's the same fraction, so 27 over 1152, and then times the number of children, which is 640. And when I worked that out, I got 15, and that's it. Okay, the next question is a histograms question. Before we start this exam technique, if you're doing an exam and you come across a histogram question, skip it out. Move on to the next question. It is not worth the marks because it's far too long a question to do for the marks. So leave it to the end. Only do the histogram question at the end if you've got plenty of time left. There are much easier marks to get on a paper. So for this one, it says there are 35 newborn babies that weigh less than 2 kilograms. Calculate an estimate for the number of newborn babies with weight between 2.5 and 4.5 kilograms. What I like doing this is I like to try and find the frequency density. So to find the frequency density, I'm going to use a wee bit of information they've given us, which says 35 newborn babies weigh less than 2 kilograms. So 2 kilograms is all the way up to here. And if you have a look, it's made up of like these sort of bigger squares. It's made up of, I think there was 14 of them. Yep, 14 of those bigger squares. So I'm just drawing them in to show you. I wouldn't do this in the exam, but just to show you, you've got 14 of those big squares, and that is worth 35. So, and we want to find out then what this first density is here. So if you look at this first density it is 6 squares. So I'm going to do my 35 divided by 14 and then multiply by 6 to get me 15. And that means the area of this thing is 15. So that means what I've worked out then, this is this bit in here. That area is 15, so that's the frequency of that first one. Okay, you can then work out the frequency densities. So frequency density is equal to frequency divided by the width. So the frequency we know is 15, and the width of that thing that we've just done is 1.5. 15 divided by 1.5 gives you 10. So that means this is just 10. That would be 20, 30, 40, and 50, and I think that's as far as we need to go up. So then you can work out, you've got your frequency densities. You can now do whatever you need to do in this question. So we'll get rid of all the stuff that I no longer need. And then we can very quickly, and what I think we would be best doing is just working out all of these frequencies in here. So the frequencies, this one then is this bar in here. If you think about it, it's 40 tall and it's only half wide. 40 times a half is going to be 20. This one in here, it is 1 wide, 50 tall. 1 times 50 is just going to be 50. This next one is a half by, and that is 22. So a half times 22 is going to be 11. Next one is going to be, that's a half times 14, which is going to be 7. And then the last one then is 1 times 6, which is just going to be 6. So there you have it. You've got all of your frequencies worked out. So it seems like I'm doing a lot of work here. Let's go back to the question and see what are they actually asking us to do in this question. So this one says, calculate an estimate for the number of children of the newborn babies with weights between 2.5 and 4.5. So 2.5 and 4.5, let's just piece it all together. So we'll say we've got from 2.5 kilograms to 3 kilograms. You're going to have, well, now you've got it, we can work it out then. There are 50 in that complete bar from 2 to 3, so there's going to be 25 then just. From 3 kilograms on to 3.5 kilograms, we worked it out to be 11. From 3.5 kilograms to 4 kilograms, we worked it out to be 7. And the last one for us to work out then is from 4 kilograms to, and then 4.5 kilograms. Well, we knew there were 6 from 4 to 5, so there's going to be only 3. And when you add those up, 20 plus 25, we'll just do it here, sorry, 20 plus 11, I should say, plus 7, plus 3. Add those all up, you're going to get 10, 21, 46. You're going to get 46 babies in total. Okay, so a fair bit of working out to do in that one. And it only gets worse. Okay, the next one says calculate an estimate for the median weight of a newborn baby. Okay, your total, if you add everything up, first of all, you had 15 plus 20 plus 50 plus 11 plus 7 plus 6, which is 109. Now, there's 2 ways you can find the median. The median, and both of them they will accept. The median, you can either do just 109 divided by 2 in this case, which is going to be equal to the 54.5 value. All right, which would be fine. And that's the way I had worked this out originally. Or what you're allowed to do is to find your median is equal to 109 plus 1 and divide by 2. It's that value, which is going to be 110 divided by 2 is going to be the 55th value, I should say, which is going to be slightly easier to do because you're not using those fractions. Okay, right. Lots and lots of ways of doing this, and I think no matter what way you do it, I think are quite tricky to do. So we've got to find our 55th value. Now let's look back at our table for a wee second. Okay, so this is up to my 15th value. 15th value is going to be here, 1.5. Then go on, and that takes me up to 15 plus the 20 takes me up to 35. So my 35th value is 2. So if you're on your 35th value, we need to go in another, what do we have to get up to the 55th value? So we need to go another 20 values into this interval. Okay, there's a bar method for doing this, which a lot of people like, and I just don't like it. So if you look up, there's lots of good videos online of people using the bar method. If you like it, go ahead and use it, but I'm not going to do it that way. So I had said then my 35th value was 2 kilograms. We need to get up to our 55th value. So we need to go 20 values into this thing. And the width of this, so we need to go 20 values into this interval here. And the width for this value, this interval, is just 1. So we'll need to see what we need to get, what do we need to get. Okay, so our median, just change color here for some reason. Median was our 35th value, which was 2 kilograms, plus we needed to go get to the 55th value. So it was 20 values we needed to go in to our next interval, which had 50, and the width of the next interval was 1. So let's just do that on a calculator and see. So that's 2 plus 20 divided by 50 times 1, which is 2.4, which is what I agreed with doing it the other way. So again, if you like the method, which is called the bar method, go for it. Knock yourself out. There we are. Okay, the next one is calculate estimates for the interquartile range. So they weren't happy with just doing this horrible method once. They wanted us to do it 3 times because you'll need to do it 2 more times for this. So first of all, your Q1, which is your lower quartile, is, and we're going to say it's 109 plus 1, and you divide by 4. That's the value it is. So that's going to be 109 plus 4, and 109 plus 1 divided by 4, which is going to be 27, the 27 and a half value. Okay, we'll go back to our table, and let's think about this. Your first 15 values are in here, so that's your 15 value is this. So your 27 and a half value is going to be in here somewhere. So we're in our 15 value we know is 1.5, and if we're on our 15 value, you need to go 12 and a half more values into this bar, which has 20 people in it, and its width is 0.5. So this one we're going to say we know our 15th value is equal to 1.5. So your Q1 is equal to your 1.5 kilograms plus, that was our 15 value. So remember, we want to get to the 27 and a half value. So we need to go 12.5 values into a thing which had 20 values in it, and the width of that was 0.5. And if you do that, 1.5 plus 12.5 divided by 20, and then times 0.5, and that gave me 1.8125 kilograms. Okay, we're halfway there. We need to find our Q3. Q3 is 3/4 times your 109 plus 1. That's the value it is. If you do that, 0.75 times 110, you will get 82. So it's an 82 and a half value. So we'll go back to our table and find out where this would be. So for my first 15 values are in here. So that's my first 15 values are in here. And then this take another 20 takes me up to the 35 values. Another 50 would take me up to 35 plus 50 would take me up to 85. So my answer is going to be in here somewhere. So if we go back here and we have a look, we know first of all that our 35th value was equal to 2. So that means our Q3, which is our 82nd value, was our 2. So our 35th value. You've got to get then up to the 82nd and a half value. So 82.5 minus 35 gives you 47.5 values out of our 50 that was in that one, and the width of that bar was just 1. So just do that on your calculator. 2 plus 47.5 divided by 50 times 1, and that works out to be 2.95 kilograms. And then your last thing, your interquartile range is the 2.95 minus whatever that was, 1.8125. So just do that, 2.95 minus 1.8125, and that gives you an answer of 1.1375 kilograms. Okay, we've made it. We're at the last question. So first thing you want to do here, we want to simplify this. So in the bracket bit, we want to take a common denominator. Common denominator is going to be x plus 4 upon 2x minus 3. The top line is going to be 2x minus 3 plus x plus 4. And then over here, I'm going to just change, I'll factorize first before I do anything else. This factorizes to be 3x plus 1 times x minus 4. I've omitted a wee bit of working out for that. You'll need to use your sum product to do that. Be very careful in this bottom line. I'll show all my steps for this one. Factorize it to 2 first of all. Okay, on to my next line. I'm going to sort out my top line. It's going to be 3x plus 1. Bottom line, we're going to leave it as it was, x plus 4 upon 2x minus 3. And then I'm still dividing. Don't want to do too much in one go. Top line is 3x plus 1 times x minus 4. And my bottom line factorizes again by the difference of two squares, the x minus 4, x plus 4. Okay, right, what can we do now? We will flip and now change it to a timesing sum. And then what you can do is start doing a bit of cancelling. So it flips, divide sign changes the times, and your dividing fraction flips upside down. And then we can do a wee bit of cancelling out. So easy things first. I have an x minus 4 here. Can go with this x minus 4. Nice neat line through it so we can still see it. This x plus 4 cancel with this one. And oh, one more thing can go. X plus 1 goes with this, and that will leave you just 1 over here. So what you're left with, that's very nice. What you're left with then is just 1 over 2x minus 3 times just 2, and you're left with 1 on the bottom line. So you're just left with 2 over 2x minus 3, and I think that's what we're looking for. And then just check, always check. This is the end of the question paper, so that you don't miss any pages, and that is us done.